Today, we're breaking down what might just go down as one of the biggest shocks in World Cup history. We all came into the 2026 tournament expecting goals, drama, and the unexpected. But nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this result coming. In a tense, gritty group stage clash that had everything on the line, Czechia, many people's dark horse pick for this tournament, fell to a resilient and tactically brilliant South African side by a solitary goal. Final score: Czechia 0, South Africa 1. Stick around until the end, because we're going deep into the tactics, the turning points, and why this result changes everything for Group F. And if you enjoy post-match analysis, predictions, and World Cup content, make sure you hit that follow, like, and subscribe button. Let's get into it. The stakes: 1-0-0, 2:30. Let's set the scene. This was match day 2 of the group stage. Czechia had opened their campaign with a solid, if unspectacular, draw against a European rival. South Africa, meanwhile, were coming off a narrow loss in their opener and were essentially playing knockout football in the second game of the group. The Bafana knew that anything less than a win here would put their round of 16 hopes on life support. For Czechia, a win would virtually secure progression to the knockout stages. The tension was palpable inside the stadium, and you could see it from kickoff that this wasn't going to be a free-flowing exhibition of attacking football. Czechia came out in their familiar 4-2-3-1, relying on their technical midfield to control the tempo and their overlapping fullbacks to stretch the South African defence. South Africa, under their pragmatic and tactically astute manager, opted for a compact 4-4-2 block, sitting low, absorbing pressure, and looking to hit on the transition. It was textbook underdog football, and from minute 1, the tactical battle was fascinating. First half analysis: 2:30, 5-0-0. The first half was a chess match more than a football match. Czechia dominated possession, ending the half with nearly 65% of the ball. But possession, as we know, doesn't win you games if you don't do anything with it. Czechia's number 10 was dropping deep to collect the ball, trying to thread passes through congested midfield lines, but South Africa's defensive shape was nothing short of exceptional. Their two holding midfielders screamed the back four brilliantly, cutting off the passing lanes into the channels and forcing Czechia to recycle the ball sideways. The few chances Czechia did fashion came from wide areas. A powerful header from a corner in the 23rd minute forced a spectacular save from the South African goalkeeper, a save that proved to be the turning point in terms of momentum. You could feel the energy shift after that. When an underdog keeper makes a save like that, it galvanizes the entire team. South Africa grew in confidence as the half wore on. In the 38th minute, they very nearly took the lead against the run of play. A long throw-in caused chaos in the Czech box. The ball fell to their striker on the turn, and his shot whistled just past the far post. The Czech defender's face told the whole story. They had been warned. At half-time, it was 0-0. But if you were watching closely, you knew that South Africa had executed their game plan to perfection, while Czechia were running out of ideas. The decisive goal: 5-0-0, 6:45. Then came the 58th minute. The moment that will be replayed for years. It started with a Czechia attack breaking down in the final third. South Africa won possession and immediately transitioned with purpose. The ball was worked down the right flank, where it was essential for heads to get in behind the tired Czech fullback. Instead of panicking and throwing in a hopeful cross, he cut the ball back to the edge of the box. The South African captain, the veteran midfielder who has been criticised in some quarters for being too conservative, took one touch to set himself, wrapped his left foot around the ball, and curled an absolute beauty into the top corner. The Czech goalkeeper could only stand and watch as the ball bent past his outstretched fingertips and nestled into the net. 1-0 to South Africa. The celebration was emotional. You saw what it meant to the players, to the traveling fans, to a nation that has been waiting for a moment like this on the global stage. The Czech players looked shell-shocked. They had been the better side for large stretches, yet one moment of clinical brilliance had undone them. Second half and Czechia's response, 6:45, 8:15. Now trailing, Czechia threw everything forward. Their manager made a triple substitution around the 65-minute mark, bringing on fresh legs and switching to a more aggressive 3-4-3 formation. Suddenly, they had bodies in the box, wingers hugging the touchlines, and central midfielders arriving late. But here's where South Africa's
tactical discipline truly shone. They didn't panic. They didn't start fouling recklessly or abandoning their shape. They defended as a unit, compressing the space between their midfield and defensive lines, forcing Czechia to take low-percentage shots from distance. The Czech strike force had perhaps their best chance in the 78th minute. A low cross from the left found their star forward unmarked at the back post. It was the kind of chance he buries 9 times out of 10. But the South African centre-back threw himself in front of the shot, blocking it with his body in a moment of sheer desperation and bravery. Time and again, Czechia probed. Time and again, South Africa repelled them. The final 10 minutes felt like an eternity. Long balls into the box were dealt with by the commanding South African goalkeeper, who claimed everything in the air with authority. When the final whistle blew, the South African bench erupted. On the other side, Czechian players sank to their knees in disbelief. What this means for the group, 8-15 to 9-15. This result blows Group F wide open. Czechia, who were many people's pick to not just advance but to potentially make a deep run, are now in serious trouble. With 1 point from 2 games, their destiny is no longer in their own hands. They need a win in their final match and hope for a favorable result elsewhere. The pressure on that final game is now immense, do-or-die football. South Africa, meanwhile, have gone from the brink of elimination to the driver's seat. For points from 2 games puts them in a fantastic position to qualify. Even a draw in their final match might be enough. The confidence this result will give them cannot be overstated. They proved today that they can not only compete with European opposition but can outthink and outfight them. For the neutral football fan, this is exactly why we love the World Cup. It's not always about the superpowers. Sometimes it's about the team T.